10 Best Alexa Bliss Matches in WWE. Reviewed. Alexa Bliss returned to WWE programming at the 2025 Royal Rumble PLE, procuring one of the biggest pops of the whole night after spending a whole 2 years away. Prior to her absence, Bliss was among the most popular names in the women's division, winning 5 WWE World Championships, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships 3 times, and also the Money in the Bank briefcase. Bliss' character work has carried her a long way in WWE, as her in-ring work hasn't been particularly renowned as being in the upper echelon of the women's division. Following her return, it provides a good opportunity to look back at the best matches of her WWE career. The Sportster's rating system will be used to rank her very best bouts, and these ratings will be compared to those from CageMatch.net and Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Alexa Bliss vs. Becky Lynch vs. Natalya vs. Nikki Bella vs. Carmela vs. Naomi, WWE Backlash 2016. This was a historic match as it would crown the first ever WWE Smackdown Women's Champion, pitting all the top names in the division in a match to fight it out to become the inaugural title holder. Bliss was very new to the main roster, but she showed some good heel work. Everyone managed to shine despite it being a busy match with not a whole load time. Becky Lynch emerged victorious, something the audience were hot for. Alexa Bliss vs. SASHA Banks, WWE Great Balls of Fire 2017. In terms of purely in-ring work, this was among Alexa Bliss' best singles matches throughout her WWE career. She was vicious in her attacks to SASHA Banks, whose selling of her back helped to tell a great story throughout. Their chemistry was on full show, but unfortunately the audience wasn't overly invested. Additionally, the countout finish served to take away from what had been a very well-wrestled match, ending this Raw Women's title bout in an unsavory manner. Women's War Games. WWE Survivor Series 2022. The first main roster War Games wasn't all perfect, with a lack of intensity at times and some slow moments, but it still had plenty of fun spots and good action on offer. The team of Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Bianca Belair, and Mike battled Bayley, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, and Nikki Cross, with a lot of star power and talent in the match. The lack of an interesting story took away some intrigue and enjoyment, but the spots from atop the cage were all flashy, as the likes of Io Sky made a big impression. Alexa Bliss vs. Becky Lynch, WWE Smackdown November 8, 2016. Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch had multiple battles for the SmackDown Women's Championship in 2016, and this match on SmackDown was arguably the best of the bunch, with their chemistry really beginning to show. Bliss' heel work was fantastic, using her smarts despite having a size disadvantage against the plucky, energetic babyface, and Lynch. The psychology and focus on the limbs added a lot to this match, all building up to a solid finish that saw Lynch retain the gold. Though Bliss looked like a star even in defeat. Alexa Bliss and Asuka vs. Damage Control. WWE Raw October 31st, 2022. Alexa Bliss and Asuka were a very thrown-together duo in 2022, but they developed good chemistry with the Damage Control pairing of Io Sky and Dakota Kai in their battles over the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And that was on full display here. This match was littered with back-and-forth transitions, sequences, and near falls, bringing the crowd into the match with a fun ending and a shock title change that made the match memorable. It might have had a few disjointed moments here and there, but that doesn't take away from the enjoyment factor. Alexa Bliss vs. Rhea Ripley vs. Doudrop vs. Liv Morgan, WWE Raw June 6, 2022. Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Doudrop, and Liv Morgan battled it out on an episode of Raw back in 2022 to determine the new #1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship, and it was a very enjoyable main event bout. The two powerhouses in Ripley and Doudrop, compared to the smaller competitors in Morgan and Bliss, allowed for a good dynamic with plenty of strong spots involving all the women. It had a slow start, but as the action built up, the crowd reaction did too. Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair vs. Damage Control, WWE Clash at the Castle 2022. The opening match of Clash at the Castle 2022 was a very enjoyable one as Damage Control took on the trio of Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. The crowd was rocking for all of this match, going wild for everyone. All the multi-woman sequences and near falls, even without much story on offer. Bayley was a big focus here, as the wild UK audience were singing for her, prompting some impressive heel work and psychology to try and gain some heat. The Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, WWE Money in the Bank 2018. One of the better Women's Money in the Bank ladder matches to date came in 2018, and it was won by none other than Alexa Bliss, with her sneaky and cowardly heel character. One of the better Women's Money in the Bank ladder matches to date came in 2018, and it was won by none other than Alexa Bliss, with her sneaky and cowardly heel character managed to find her way to a win against a talented field of Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Ember Moon, Naomi, SASHA Banks, Natalya, and Lana. At the time, the choice of Bliss winning wasn't all too popular from a storytelling perspective, given that she'd been a world champion not long before this show. The big spots were all strong, with the likes of Naomi and Moon shining in particular, and the audience loved it. Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair versus Carmela, WWE Smackdown, June 4th, 2019. On an episode of Smackdown in 2019, Alexa Bliss battled both Charlotte Flair and Carmela for the right to become the new #1 contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So these added stakes made it more intriguing from a storytelling perspective as the match went on. The crowd were more and more invested, with the three women putting together some great sequences, near falls, and more. It was an exciting TV match and one that managed to remain unpredictable. 1. Alexa Bliss versus SASHA Banks versus Ember Moon versus Natalya, WWE Raw, June 11th, 2017. The best match of Alexa Bliss' WWE career is one many fans may have forgotten all about, as it came on an episode of Monday Night Raw. Alexa Bliss competed in a fatal four-way match involving winner Natalya, SASHA Banks, and Ember Moon. These four women were given 20 minutes to work with to craft a really enjoyable match. The crowd was red hot for this match, elevating it a lot, but that doesn't take away from the strong pacing, the intricate sequences, and the great selling, especially from Ember Moon and SASHA Banks. In terms of character work, Bliss did the heavy lifting. This is certainly a match that deserves more plaudits. Alexa Bliss returns to WWE, qualifies for Elimination Chamber. After 2 years away, Bliss's comeback culminates with victory over Candice LeRae at SmackDown. WWE fans were thrilled by the surprise return of Alexa Bliss at the Royal Rumble, marking her comeback to the ring and WWE television after over 2 years away. Bliss entered the Royal Rumble match to massive applause, signaling her highly awaited return, and immediately made her presence felt. Following this momentous event, many speculated about where she would land, considering previous rumors linked her return to Monday Night Raw.